That puppy's driving a car. Silly puppies. You don't drive cars. You're puppies. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Well, as long as I've got you, why don't I go ahead and show you how to install Teams on something like an iPad or any other kind of iOS device. So, in order to install anything on an iOS device, for those of you that don't know, you're going to be looking for something called the App Store. This is where you can install any applications on an iPad or an iPhone or any other kind of iOS device. Now, throughout the different versions of iOS, the App Store has looked a little bit different, but generally speaking, you're always going to be looking for this icon. The App Store icon is actually right here. So if we tap that, it will take us to the App Store, where we can find Teams and go ahead and download it. Now, it might ask you to set up an Apple ID if you haven't already. You will need to have an Apple account set up in order to download anything, but it does not require that you put in a credit card. Teams is a free app, and as an Iroquois student, you actually have access to all of the paid Microsoft apps just by default. So, what we're going to do is we're going to click the little search icon down here if it isn't already clicked. Click that, and that'll bring up this little search page. So, up here, we're going to type in Teams. And we'll click one of those suggestions. There we go. This is the application that we're looking for here. Now, depending on whether or not you've already downloaded it, you will see a couple different icons. You will see something that says Get right here if you have never installed it. Or you'll have this little cloud icon if you have installed it before. Obviously, I have, so we'll go ahead and hit that little install icon. Now, the App Store is usually, pretty quick. Shouldn't take too long to install. Got a pretty good internet connection over here, so I'm sure this will be ready.
That dog had a driver's license.
Oh, good. It finished downloading. Okay, excellent. All right, well, now that this is done downloading, we'll go ahead and show you how to set up Teams on the iOS device. So we're going to go ahead and hit the home button. Depending on what kind of iOS device you have, the home button may be a couple different things. Maybe either a swipe up or down from the screen, or it may be pressing the little circle button at the bottom of your device. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Now, on this main page, we're going to go ahead and look for Teams. Now, it could be anywhere on the screen because Apple likes to just kind of put an icon wherever it'll fit. Luckily for us, it turns out that it's just right here. So we're going to go ahead and tap that little Teams icon and open it up. Now, the first time you start up, you may not see a full list here of different Microsoft accounts that you have. What you'll want to click is this sign in with another account, or it will otherwise it'll ask you to sign in with an existing account. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And we're going to put in our example student account, which is going to be the student number at iroquois.iu5.org. So that's going to be 6809888 at iroquois.iu5.org. Now, if you don't know your student's email address, which is going to be, student number at iroquois.iu5.org, or you don't know their password, reach out to the student's teachers. They actually do have lists of passwords that they can hand out. So we'll go ahead and click sign in. Now, if we spelled Iroquois correctly, we will get this little Microsoft login page. So we'll go ahead and click where it says enter password. If you don't see this kind of login page, by the way, you might have spelled Iroquois wrong or not put iu5.org at the end of it. So we'll go ahead and click that. Say enter password. And the password is going to be... We'll click sign in. Now, after a moment, it'll go ahead and sign your student into their Teams account. First, we'll see this little page here. It says, get homework done anywhere, sends up important stuff, speak up, blah, 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 blah. So we click got it. All right. Now we're at our main page. Now, the important thing to know about this main page is that it's going to look a little bit different depending on whether or not you are doing this on an iOS device or an iPhone or an iPad, depending on the amount of screen real estate you have available. So on a phone, you'll probably just see the feed here. And on an iPad, you'll probably see the whole thing. So the first screen that we're looking at here is actually the activity screen. On this screen, you'll see anything that has been assigned to your student, if they've been invited to any meetings, or if they've been invited to any new classes. That will all show up in this activity feed. It's a very good thing to just kind of like check at the beginning of the day to see if there's anything new for you to do. So the next thing we're going to go over here is this little Teams button. So we'll go ahead and click that. Again, the format's going to be a little bit different depending on whether you're on a phone or a tablet. But here you'll see we have each of the teams that we're a part of. Each of these are different classes that we've been rostered into. So you can see right here we have a CAD class, and then we have an English class, and then we have Russ's Awesome Team, which is my class, and the best class, and unfortunately a fake one. But if it was a real class, I'm sure it'd be great. In any case, if you're on the phone, you'll just see this. If you're on a tablet, you will see both sections. In order to interact with any of the teams, we can just click them. Click the little channels underneath them. Like every channel will have this little general, or every team will have this little general channel. So we'll go ahead and tap that, and you can see we have information from each of these channels showing up on this side here. The next tab is going to be the little assignments tab. And this tab is something that a lot of our teachers do tend to use. Assignments is a way of organizing data the way that you would normally for a classroom. You will have related data, things that might be related to research or something for a homework assignment or a test or a quiz. But it's all packaged in one unit, an assignment, that your student can interact with so they don't have to go and search for a bunch of stuff. Everything that a teacher wants a student to be able to use for an assignment will usually be linked somehow in this assignment. Now, the nice thing is, when we tap this, you can see that it brings up all of the different classes that we're a part of. So if we click the little CAD icon and click Next, any assignments that have been assigned to us will show up here. It'll show whether or not they are due. And if we click each of them, we can see any materials that we need in order to complete them, any information on what we need to do, and exactly what we need to turn in to complete the assignment. So this is how the assignments page works. The only other tab that we use in the Teams app is actually going to be the calendar app. Now, if we tap this, it usually will ask you if you want to use Bluetooth. It's not really necessary. Teams is actually an enterprise product, so it has all kinds of silly features like being able to join a team by bumping iPads together or something silly like that. We don't tend to use it, so turning Bluetooth on is not really important. So we'll click OK. If you have any meetings that you've been scheduled for, teachers tend to use either Zoom or the built-in Teams video app to run some of their classes. So if you have any meetings that you've been assigned to, you will see them show up here on the calendar. You also should get an invite both in the student's email and also on that little activity page. Now, the last two over here we don't actually use. Teams is capable of doing voice over IP, otherwise known as VoIP, but we don't actually use it for that. And then there is a little Files tab over here. This is a way of organizing if you have files on your iOS device that you need to upload or whatever. You can click there and it'll give you some access to those files. It's not really something that's going to be very important to using Teams. Now, I'm going to go over how Teams works in much greater detail in another video, but this is just kind of a quick little overview of what Teams looks like on an iOS device. So, if you are all set, we can go ahead and move on to the next video where we go over Teams in more detail. Or if you have another device that you want to try to install it on, whether it is an Android device, a Windows device, or a Mac device, go ahead and check out one of the other videos I've created on how to install Teams on those, and I will meet you in a further video.